Welcome to Indiana Sports Beat Radio.
So for the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world. Time!
Three on the way. Oh! It went in! It went in! And Indiana wins the ball game!
Know your role and shut your mouth, you jabroni!
Float game for the win! Ayler's gone. Goodbye. Touchdown, Indy. Woo! IU. America. They got a football team now.
It's pretty simple. I win. Google me.
You know that I'm the cream of the crop.
Now, here's Jim Coyle.
Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio on this Tuesday. Glad to have you with us. Jim Coyle, as always, and joined by our good friend Jamie Shaw from On3. How are you doing, my friend? Have you been able to relax any at all here in this little bit of downtime?
Jim, man, things are great. No relaxation. We go straight from AAU. We get rankings updates straight from that to visit season and all that. So, it's a 12-month-a-year job. So, very exciting though. Very exciting.
And you can imagine how busy guys like Jamie are when you're covering the sport. So, and recruiting is probably one of the most specific things that there is, because it's just cut and dry, but it's so massive because there are so many teams, and now there are so many moving pieces because of the transfer portal and NIL and blah, blah, blah. So, better you than me, my friend.
It's incredibly fluid, just like you said. While at the end of the day, you only sign with one team, leading up to that, the months leading up to that, especially in this climate that we're in currently, things got started so late with the transfer portal, pushing everything back. Things getting started so late with this 2026 class. There's a lot of fluid movement to be had, and a little bit of unknown ahead as well with the 2026 class. So it keeps us on our toes, as you said. And it's incredibly exciting time.
Absolutely. For Indiana, the big visits last weekend they had, and they had others before, but Anthony Thompson was in over the weekend, and they have another one coming in this weekend. Huge weekend in Bloomington as number 19 football team is hosting number 9 Illinois. So it's going to be an electric environment at Memorial Stadium. I don't know how much that carries over, but I would think that it's got to be something when you go on a visit and you've got an electric environment versus one that's not, to get you part of just jacked up, because fan bases and their passion is, I think, something that makes a mark on people. That's why Indiana's been able to maintain a higher status than its performance has provided in the last couple of years, because they're still, whether people want to admit it or not, they're still a blue blood, and that's not going to change. They just need to get back to acting like one.
No, for sure. And anytime that you're immersed within a rabid environment with a fan base that's just going, crazy, when you have chants going with your name on it and all that type of stuff, it's hard to ignore that. It's hard to cast that aside when you're on your visit, and just a whole bunch of the environments just very rabid, as I said. So players mentioned that. They talk about it. Obviously, it's not the end all be all when it comes to a decision. However, it is something that sticks in their minds.
Absolutely. And so what, from what you gathered, how did the visit go? Which they all go, oh, it went great. So that's the dumbest question that I could ever ask, but I don't know how else to start that conversation.
No, for sure. When it comes to Anthony Thompson, I think Indiana's kind of been toward the top of his group, even dating back to the old staff. If you remember, he's taken unofficial visits, even dating back to his early high school days, continuing forward. And then with this new staff, the new focus that they've put into it, and the new juice that they've built, they've maintained toward the top part of the group. Feedback coming in from the visit was very positive. As you said, all official visits are positive. But Indiana's done a pretty good job positioning themselves to be able to strike in this recruitment where things stand.
And that's huge because Indiana has been bringing guys in for the last several years. They've been on these lists, but weren't quite making the cut. I think that if Anthony Thompson was on board prior, he's probably more on board now because of, well, to be honest with you, what he is going to see in practice, what he saw in practices and scrimmages, because I know I got to see it. We got to go to an open practice and I was down in Puerto Rico for those games. I know what he would have seen. I know how Darren DeVries' teams are going to attack. And that is an appropriate word. They're going to attack defensively and offensively. And it's modern basketball, and guys got to love it because the 3-point shot, you want one, take one. As long as you got a pretty good shot at hitting it, there will not be a lack of 3-point attempts by this Indiana team. That's something I will guarantee you. But the defense is just as important. You can tell the importance is placed by Coach DeVries and the players.
No, for sure. I mean, if you kind of look at the construct of this year's team, obviously got into it a little bit late and had to go through the portal and all that. But if you look at the construct of this year's team, they have a point and they have kind of a 5-ish position. And then they have 3 people at the 2, 3, and 4, traditional 2, 3, and 4 that are fluid. They all have length and they all have shooting ability. They all have processing ability to make play in their with the ball in their hand. And that kind of fits right into exactly what Anthony Thompson is. Kind of, as you mentioned, looking at the style, looking at the system, looking at how they're playing, the construct of this team fits toward what he is as a player. And it'll be interesting to see continuing as it moves forward what that looks like. What that ultimately looks like is it is very modern. It is very spacing. It is very, move the ball, drive and kick, and knock down shots. The high efficient rim 2s and 3s.
Yeah, and like I said, I think that now, man, our player comes in, they're going to love what they see. And I think there more of them will want to be a part of it because I can see how Peyton Conaway plays, and he loves it. He's a bulldog. Connor Enright, bulldog. They love it. Lamar Wilkerson, scoring machine, but a defender. He likes to get in your face, man. And when you have guys that like to play defense, people should get a better understanding of why Darren DeVries brought in the guys he brought in. Not a lot of big names. Most of them people had not heard of, but they still managed to get the 10th ranked portal class. And I think that's pretty good with what I saw. And Indiana fans are going to be pretty happy.
No, for sure, and he did a great job of kind of catering around what he wants to do. That modern offense that you mentioned, length and fluidity at the guards and forwards. You got a 1 and a 5 that can kind of heat the ball up and then guard play at the rim a little bit, and then fluidity in the middle of the lineup. I think he catered toward that, and it'll be interesting to see. And then back to with Anthony Thompson, you're still watching schools like Michigan, and he has that Kentucky visit coming up at the end of September. That's still on the books for right now. So. It'll be interesting to see how things close. I don't think this is anywhere close to being done, this recruitment with Thompson. But I think Indiana has positioned themselves to be in the conversation as things are starting to wind down a little bit.
Yeah, and now you can be in the conversation, but there's so many other facets, a lot of ins and outs for you big Lebowski fans. NIL being, we just call it NIL, but because rev share is rev share. I don't know how much rev share is going to matter because everybody's kind of got the same, but it doesn't mean you're going to get paid the same. But NIL opportunities just add to that. And that's where schools like Kentucky have set up an LLC so they can really ramp up their NIL efforts.
No, for sure. And that's a conversation that's had in every recruiting trip. It's interesting to see how that's going to play out because, as you mentioned, with the rev share, a lot of schools are going to want to allocate the funds that they have toward players that are going to help them this next season. A lot of times in the college landscape, the current landscape, high school freshmen or high school seniors, upcoming freshmen, might not necessarily how much that they'll help gets into the conversation. But then you have some unknown stuff upcoming with The fifth year, you have some unknown, a lot of unknown right now when it comes to NIL, when it comes to what you have to be able to allocate fund-wise out there. So those conversations are interesting to be had. Again, as I mentioned, there's a lot of unknown right now when it comes to schools and what they actually have.
Yeah, because we know who is at the top as far as that, but we don't know what's what and how it's being dispersed. That's, boy, I would sure love to be in those conversations. Not that I need to know what they're making, but it would be nice to know what they are making compared to whom and why. But that, boy, what a can of worms that would open up, huh?
No, for sure. Absolutely.
Because it's already enough that they deal with it. But if the media were talking about that would just suck. That would really be a negative, I think.
No, I mean, it's it's just in any normal walk of life. I mean, I know not many people wanting to talk about what they make and all that type when it comes. Obviously, when you have guys that are trying to compete for a spot on a team, knowing what the next person makes, maybe it's more, maybe it's less, or whatever the case. That gives a pecking order when it comes to things, and maybe somebody's performing up to par, maybe somebody's not performing up to par, maybe somebody's overplaying or all that type of stuff. And like you said, just a whole nother can of worms that comes with knowing those numbers.
Ethan Taylor is another gentleman that Indiana is looking forward to hosting this weekend, I believe. And he's got a great game to come in for. Let me tell you, sold out. He's got a ticket, baby. But he is a 7'1" center and a point of emphasis for Indiana, I think, because their center this year is a little different. It's not so much on height, but more about universal ability. Reed is able to do a lot of things, but they don't have that true set center, like we should call the Purdue center, because Purdue has, golly, I just saw that there's a Chinese player, 7-foot Chinese player that it's down to Illinois and Purdue. How does he not take Purdue over Illinois unless it's just money, which I would be somewhat surprised. But as much as Purdue has done so well with the big guys, and I don't mean this as a slap to Matt Painter, but they haven't, other than Mount Edie, who was just a freak of nature, they haven't put a lot of big guys in the NBA.
So I guess Ethan Taylor coming in this weekend is going to be very interesting to watch. He's already gone to Oregon and Oklahoma. And then, he's got 4 more visits that are on the schedule currently. We'll see if he continues to take them all. Indiana, Kansas, Michigan State, Kentucky. I think a lot of people are watching these next 2 visits that Ethan's set to take, Indiana and Kansas, coming up here to close out September. 7'1", 7'2" center, legit size. And he's somebody who has continued to kind of progress in an upward fashion over the last, we'll say, 8 to 12 months or so with his game. He had a very good EYBL this summer, very efficient, high around the basket. And he kind of does fit that role, as you mentioned, kind of somebody that you can plant around the rim, act as a vertical floor spacer when it comes to the dunker spot and a rim runner, somebody that finishes around the basket, somebody that also protects the rim and gets rebounds. Kind of does the big guy stuff, the tough guy stuff. Rod Clark has done a good job positioning Indiana within this conversation. They are a group that has consistently been mentioned throughout the course. While the top team and all that stuff has fluctuated throughout the process, Indiana's kind of steadily been mentioned toward the top tier of this. And as I mentioned, these next 2 visits that he has, Indiana and Kansas, are currently 2 that a lot of people are kind of watching with Ethan Taylor.
Yeah, the current On3 rivals layout has Kansas at about 27%, then Oklahoma, and then Indiana, but that could have changed, like you said. We'll have to see. Kansas, we've all seen, tough to beat when it comes to that tradition play, but we've seen them level out. They did not have the season that any one of us expected last year. So, hey, they're human, right? And that's what that proves. Braylon Mullins expected to start for UConn this year. That's big for him.
Yeah, no, Braylon Mullins is, there's even talk about him, the possibility on the NBA front and all that coming out of this year, seeing how things go. They're very excited about what he could do. The kind of the pull to Kansas with Ethan is that he's from Kansas. That's his home state, home city. Grew up kind of going to games there and all that. So, Kansas, there's familiarity there with the program.
And that's going to be hard to beat as well. Just ingrained in you, but we'll see. I'm sure that they'll end up getting a center. That's something you have to have. Hey, I want to talk about the Field of 68 joining On3 too. That's I'm sure we'll be hearing you on there quite often, but pretty big news and very cool thing.
Yeah, massive news. Shannon Terry's done an unbelievable job in expanding the football coverage, bringing value. As he always talks about, bringing value to the subscriber by bringing national commentary. And he set forth after purchasing Rivals of putting in place on the football side a host of people that have varying opinions and voices that have different expertises when it comes to what they're talking about and all that. Now it's on the basketball side. You bring in Rob Doster and Jeff Goodman, two seasoned veterans, two guys that have done an unbelievable job in building the Field of 68. Coming together to kind of build that voice. There are two people also that when they talk, the landscape listens. Whether or not they agree, that provides discourse, that provides conversation. But when they talk, the landscape listens. And that's huge ads for On3, huge ads for Rivals. When it comes to visibility, when it comes to leading the conversation across the landscape, the Field of 68 coming on board is steps closer to that.
Yeah, if you go to the Hoosier.com, which is the Indiana On3 outlet, not only do you get On3 and Rivals, a subscription to the Athletic, Field of 68. What am I leaving out? My gosh, it's an all-in-one stop and shop, man.
And an interesting thing that they have too is where they're really pushing is community. So Shannon wants, we'll say with the Hoosier, wants the Hoosier employees to be on the message boards talking everything, but he also wants the national voices to be able to come on and have discussions and conversation along with each person. So the Steve Wilfongs of the world, the Joe Tiptons of the world as well. You have access to them through the message boards when it comes to building the community, when it comes to conversation, and when it comes to just general understanding of enjoying the college sport that we all love.
Absolutely. And just like I said, the level of information, whether it's from someone like yourself or Joe Tipton on the basketball side, if a story's going to break, it's going to break via On3. I can just tell you that without question. So you're really missing out if you do not have a subscription to thehoosier.com. I'm telling you, it is the place to go. And you can check that out for only $1. And I was trying to finish writing something, but to post that, which I will do now. But yeah, you can check it out for just $1. See what it's all about. And then you get 50% off in the first year. And you get the free subscription to The Athletic, which I read virtually every day. And you get all the national content from On3. And you get the content from the Field of 68. You're covered. And a lot of Indiana fans are not fans of Jeff Goodman, but that's because he says things that are true, probably, and that I used to say, and I'm trying to, ride the line a little better. He doesn't have to, as an outside national reporter. When you're I call myself a beat reporter as far as Indiana is concerned, because I'm on that beat all the time. You have to ride a different line. I mean, you're going to tell the truth, but sometimes you may not tell it with as much salt as I normally would.
And two things I want to kind of add to that. One, when it comes to your team specifically, interacting with Alec, interacting with Kyler, both very bright minds. Kyler on the basketball side with his scouting and his ability to kind of see talent and evaluate kind of what's happening in front of him on the basketball floor. And then Alec's just a grinder, just somebody that goes out and gets information, he finds it and gets it done. You have a great team at the Hoosiers. So not only you get the national stuff, you're getting some dudes that know the beat, that know the ins and outs of what Indiana's doing, and they know, and they can kind of uncover situations as they happen. So you have a great team there as well. But also I want to shout out Talia Goodman, obviously Jeff Goodman's daughter on the women's side. She has absolutely killed it over this past year that she came in, and done a great job covering the women's basketball side, and all that, even setting the pace kind of on the women's basketball side as well. So there's just so much value that On3 has right now. And, it's almost like the Monstars in Space Jam when it comes to what Shannon Terry's building, when it comes to this. The team sites are strong, and the value from the national side when it comes to everything is just so high right now.
Yeah, lots of announcements. It's crazy how, it was already a rocket ship, and then it just started. It's like grabbing the satellite discs as it flew through through space. It was grabbing up other things out in space. Chris Lowe, now a part of On3, is a senior national college football writer. They just keep adding great people, none greater than you, of course, but it's there, man. What is up next for you? What is up next for Indiana? What are your thoughts on, do they land any or some of these top ranked guys?
Yeah, I do. I think there's going to be a firm eye planted on Anthony Thompson and Ethan Taylor. I think those are two that are kind of at the top of the list. Another name is Latrell Almond. I think that it's worth monitoring as well. He just took his visit to Tennessee. We'll see how kind of things progress if a commitment date starts to form for him. But I think those are three names Indiana fans between now and the early signing period in November on the high school side continue to pay attention to and monitor how things go.
Buddy, I appreciate you as always. And as we get closer to basketball season, Indiana, they canceled Hoosier Hysteria, which had become kind of a joke. It was worthless. It was worthless. It was waste of time for me, because all it was people coming out, riding out in cars, getting spotlights, introduced, yada, yada, throwing T-shirts. And that was about it. It used to be a scrimmage. Well, now they're going to have a live event down on Kirkwood in Bloomington, which if you've been to Bloomington, you're always busy working, so you may not know where Kirkwood is, but there's a place, Kirkwood Avenue, lined with a lot of the bars in town, and they're going to have a live event out there, which is very cool. Louisville does that on 4th Street Live, but they're also having an open scrimmage October 3rd, the weekend of Indiana football's bye week. So there you go. There's a chance for you to come watch them if you want. But I think the fans are going to like what they see.
Yeah, no, that's massive. Anytime you can get excitement around, and just anytime you can build excitement, live, people like to be there. People like to be in the mix and touching and feeling and seeing and formulate their own opinions. Live music, live events, live games, scrimmages, open. That's a wonderful thing. It only builds camaraderie around the program.
AG says Shannon Terry, the originator, he is the guru. First of all, people, he started Rivals, sold it. He started 247 Sports, sold it. He started On3 and then started gobbling everybody up. But now I understand why the headquarters is in Nashville. Shannon's a legendary Lipscomb Bison, which Indiana just recently brought the Bison back as a mascot. So there's a little crossover. But
how about this? Shannon Terry was a 6'5" shooting guard at Lipscomb. When he graduated back in the 90s, he was the top 10 all-time leading scorer in Lipscomb history when he graduated. Wow. I think it's kind of moved down maybe 12th, 13th now. But yeah, he had a pretty prolific basketball career in college.
Yep. Russell asking about Prince Moody, hoping he's a really good guard because you might be deficient in that area in the class of 26. We'll see. That's what the portal's for.
Well, one thing Prince Moody you can say is during Peach Jam, he led all shooters in three-point shooting percentage, over 46% from three during Peach Jam. So he might not be super dynamic as a player, but he kind of elevates the floor somebody who's able to dribble, shoot, and pass and fill in a lot of gaps.
Dribble, shooting, and passing. If you got that, you got it all. Jamie Shaw from On3. Make sure you're following him and keeping up with all of his late-breaking content in regards to college basketball on Indiana, the Big Ten, whatever. He's got it all, and he's out. He's boots on the ground, baby. He is boots on the ground. That's your new nickname, boots on the ground. Or we'll just have to shorten that to Boots. What's up, Boots? We got Boots.
Boots.
Buddy, I appreciate you, and I look forward to seeing you. You got to make it in for anything?
Say it again. Am I what?
Will you make it into Indiana, Bloomington for anything?
Not on the docket right now, but I'm not averse to making something happen.
Right. You're not a game-by-game reporter. He's got other things to do. Appreciate you, brother. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Jim, keep doing a great job, man. The Hoos will make sure you all sign up for it and everything. It's unbelievable coverage.
Appreciate you, buddy. Appreciate
Thanks,
you
Jim.
so much. Jamie Shaw from On3 joining us from parts unknown. Russell says it. Thanks, Jamie. I like that. I did not know that about Prince. There you go. Hey, that's why people say, well, why should I subscribe? Because that information is what you get. Inside information is what you get. Alec Lasley has done a tremendous job of expanding his contacts and has broken many stories. Joe Tipton is going to break the stories. It's coming from On3, and it's the content, but it's also the boards where everybody gets in there and talks about what's going on. But what you can get with all of that, the athletic and everything, that's a crazy good deal.
Zach Browning here to tell you about an offer you simply can't pass up. If you're looking for the best coverage of Indiana football and basketball, which includes recruiting, weekly chats, podcasts, as well as access to the best national team out there, then look no further than thehoosier.com. The best part, it's just $1 for the first week. Oh, and did I mention that you get a full year of access to The Athletic when you sign up? You can't beat the coverage, and you can't beat the deal. So head over to thehoosier.com today and sign up for just $1. It'll be the best decision you ever made. Zach Browning here to tell you about an offer you simply can't pass up. If you're looking for the best coverage of Indiana football and basketball, which includes recruiting, weekly chats, podcasts, as well as access to the best national team out there, then look no further than thehoosier.com. The best part, it's just $1 for the first week. Oh, and did I mention that you get a full year of access to The Athletic when you sign up? You can't beat the coverage, and you can't beat the deal. So head over to thehoosier.com today and sign up for just $1. It'll be the best decision you ever made.